all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the second video related to the series Autopilot for Everyone. In this video, we are covering the installations and the configurations. So in last video, we have seen like the Autopilot for Everyone is available in our UiPath assistants, and if you see here, it is connected to default tenant. So at a tenant level, we are installing the Autopilot for Everyone. Now let's go back to the orchestrator where we configure the Autopilot for Everyone. So if you see here in the default tenant, how to navigate to the Autopilot for Everyone configuration, it is simple. Remember three A's. This is how I remember it. It is one A is admin, second AI trust layer, go to Autopilot for Everyone. Why I'm telling this? Because every time when you want to configure something related to Autopilot for Everyone, you shouldn't be confused like where to navigate. It is always like admin, AI trust layer, Autopilot for Everyone. And here I have only one tenant. So when I select the tenant, if you see here, for me the Autopilot for Everyone is already installed. That is the reason why it is showing like uninstall Autopilot for Everyone. But let's say that if it is not installed in your tenant, you need to do a couple of steps so that the install button is enabled. So in order to show you, I'll create a new tenant for installing Autopilot. I'm creating from the beginning. Click next. So these all you keep it as it is. Let's say the document understanding is not enabled. For some people, by default document understanding might not be enabled. So in order to showcase for them, I'm just disabling it for now. Actually it is required, but I'm disabling to show you like how to enable it back. Click on next button. These all are fine. Robot units, I'm just giving some units here. 5000 production license, if there's no lines it's okay. AI units also we have like around like 4860. I'm giving like 1000 here. Okay, click on create. It's good, it's make sure that some AI units are actually enabled for this tenant, because AI units are required for Autopilot for Everyone to give you the results when you give a prompt. So let it install. Okay, so tenant for Autopilot we have successfully created. Now we go back to Autopilot for Everyone. Remember the three A's. Go to admin, then AI trust layer, Autopilot for Everyone. Now if you see here, you have two options. Default tenant, I have already installed the Autopilot for Everyone, but for installing UiPath Autopilot, if you see here, these many options needs to be enabled because install Autopilot for Everyone is not enabled. So one thing you have to make sure is that Autopilot for Everyone is actually started in last year October only. So the minimum version required is 24.10.5. If your assistance is below 24.10.5, definitely you won't be able to enable the Autopilot for Everyone in your assistant because it is released in last October. So it's fairly a new product. And enable personal workspace by default it will be there. Definitely you need a valid license. So if you see here, I'm actually doing more like a assistant automation, right? So this is a attended automation. So you need minimum attended license. If you have unattended license, it is fine. But if you need minimum assistant license for enabling the Autopilot for Everyone, because you need an access to the assistant of the UiPath. So that is one thing here. Then automation will verify Autopilot bridges enabled. This is also by default it is enabled. But if you see here, there are main prerequisites are there, like enable document understanding, enable user license management, enable anthropic models in automation ops. So we'll do one by one. First thing is like enable document understanding. So if I go to my presentation, you see for enabling document understanding, we have to go to admin, tenant, services, add services, and select DU. Okay, so we'll follow the same only. Go back to your orchestrator, go to admin. Okay, select which tenant. Now we need to install it for installation UI for installing UiPath Autopilot. Go to services. Here, if you see now, you don't see document understanding here, right? It is nowhere here in the services. So click on add services. You see document understanding. Click on add. So that's it. So you have actually added, it is updating, it will be enabled. So if document understanding is not enabled, you won't be able to install Autopilot for Everyone. The reason is I have explained you the generative AI capabilities, right? So as part of generative AI capabilities, definitely we need access to document understanding because we are reading values from documents, we are extracting tables from documents. So all these functionalities are part of Autopilot for Everyone, and the backend uh, technology used is document understanding only. That is the reason why we have to make sure that document understanding is enabled. So since we have enabled, go back to our autopilot for everyone, same concept, go to admin. Okay, so go to admin, AI trust layer, autopilot for everyone, select the tenant for installing UiPath Autopilot. You see, enable document understanding is enabled. But let's say that by default user license agreement is enabled. Worst case, if any one of you it is not enabled, I'll show you the steps also. Let's go back to our this one. Okay, 1 second. If you see here for enabling user license agreement, go to admin, settings, advanced, and enable user management. Okay, so here let's go back to our orchestrator, go back to admin. We mentioned like settings, advanced settings. If you see here, user licensing management functionality is already enabled for the current account. If it is not enabled, you will see an enable button. Just click on that enable button, then it will be similar to this screen. Okay, so this is how we enable the user license management. So now what is one more point is we need to complete. We'll go to trust layer. I am navigating multiple times so that you know like where to navigate for autopilot for everyone. If you see here, enable anthropic models in automation ops. So this is a topic which I want to explain a little bit more. So what is anthropic model? So you all are aware, I'm sure that you all are aware about ChatGPT, right? And you know that ChatGPT is a product from OpenAI, and the LLM model which is used is like GPT. There are 3, 3.5, 4 different models are available, correct? Similarly, Anthropic is a company similar to OpenAI, and they also have LLM, large language models, which we call as Claude or Sonnet 3.5. So, in case of Autopilot for everyone, definitely generative AI capabilities is there. But how UiPath they have these capabilities? Whether the UiPath builds some LLM from the scratch? No, because we have already have different LLMs which are already tested and trained on different data. So UiPath have actually integrated with different models. So UiPath have good integrations with ChatGPT, Gemini, Anthropic models. But if you ask me specific to Autopilot for everyone, the LLM which is mainly used is Anthropic model LLM, which is like Claude Sonnet 3.5 LLM. And compared to, I'll do a comparison video about ChatGPT versus Claude Sonnet 3.5. But right now, you make sure that there is an LLM behind the UiPath, and the LLM which is used is Claude Sonnet 3.5, which is a product of Anthropic. That is the reason why we have to enable Anthropic models in automation ops. Then only we will be able to install the autopilot for everyone. By default, it is not enabled. So if you see here, you have seen like automation ops. We know that automation ops is available here. Go to automation ops. Okay. And then definitely, what is automation ops? If you are not aware, automation ops is a platform in UiPath for creating policy and deploying into different products in the orchestrator. For example, like if you want to create a policy specific to Studio, you come here and create the policy and deploy to Studio tool in that particular tenant. So I'm not going much details into the automation ops right now while I'm creating the policy, add product policy. Definitely, it should be AI trust layer. Anything related to Autopilot or everyone is related to AI trust layer because Autopilot is a product under AI trust layer. So I'm creating, so since I'm creating for installing UiPath, I'll just mention like for installing Autopilot for everyone. You can give any name, but since this is creating only for Autopilot for everyone, I'm giving like this AI trust layer. Definitely click on add. I'm just creating the policy only, okay? Just by creating the policy doesn't mean that automatically it is reflected in all the tenants. We have to deploy it wherever required. So this is okay. So I have why it is showing like priority because I have already created some policy for installing Autopilot for everyone. In AI trust, that is the reason why it is giving me all the policies which are related to AI trust layer. Okay, so the priority I can give 3 1. It's okay. And now if you go to the models, you see there are different, as I have mentioned, we have Azure OpenAI, Gemini, which all are like enabled by default. Anthropic is not enabled. I'm enabling it now and clicking on save button. Now let's go back to our autopilot for everyone screen. Triple A, go to admin, go to AI trust layer, select the tenant, Autopilot for everyone. Select the tenant for installing Autopilot for everyone. Enable. Okay, it is still not enabled. I missed to deploy it. Okay, let's go and deploy it. I was mentioning the same, but I missed to deploy it. So we have just created the policy only. We need to deploy it to the corresponding tenant. Let's do that first. Okay. So we have already created the policy. Let's go back to the deployment. Okay. And then we have to deploy it in for installing in your Autopilot. So here in the AI trust layer, we can sell it for installing Autopilot for everyone. Click on save. Okay, we have saved, settings are successfully saved. Go back to Autopilot, admin, select the tenant. No, no, we have to select the AI trust layer. My bad. That's why I'm telling like AAA, admin AI trust layer, Autopilot for everyone. Select the tenant for installing Autopilot. It is already enabled. Now let's click on install button. It might take couple of minutes. Okay, so here if you see here, the Autopilot solution got installed. Now let's go back to our assistant. We'll switch to for installing Autopilot. It's okay. Click on yes. For the first time, it might take some time, or if it is not enabled, I know there is a small glitch in the assistant. Whenever the installation is completed, you can actually quit the assistant and open it again so that it will be reflected. But in this case, let's see whether it is getting installed. Because previously, if it was not enabled or if it was not installed, it will be just giving you some details only. But now, if you see here, it is installing the Autopilot for everyone, loading something good. So if you see the time which I have taken for installations, it's around like 10 minutes only. If you are doing quickly, you can even complete it within like less than 10 minutes. You have to give a role. So I'm mentioning my role here. Intelligent automation leads department. Mention like IT. Click on next. Done. So if you see here, UiPath Assistant is configured here and it got installed here. In next video, definitely we'll talk about the configurations in Autopilot for everyone. Hope you like the video. Thank you everyone and have a good day.